I just want to start by saying that democracy is too important to be left in the hands of election officials or at the fingertips of computer programmers. So essentially, we have developed a way to hold elections officials to their promise. They're saying we promise to run the elections correctly when the elections start. Well, and we're saying, you know what? Do a mathematical problem. Prove to us in a mathematical way that the elections are run correctly. Bring data to the table. And by the way, I'm a computer scientist and an engineer. I have a little bit of a business background, but I have over 18 years of experience in computer programming and solving problems like this, which is what computer science is about. So Voteglas is going to change all this black box model. You don't have a black box that you have no idea what's happening inside. The black box can be physical, you drop a piece of paper, it can be electronic, you have a computer, you have no idea what's inside. It can be a virus, it can be anything. So, enough with the propaganda. That's it. So from now on, we're going to talk the products, the market, the money. In the US, about $1 billion is spent every year for running public elections. So this is only public elections, mayor, senators, president, and so on. We're not looking at the private sector, labor unions and so on. There are over 3,000 counties in the US, and the elections are run at the county level. Each county is responsible for purchasing voting equipment and running the elections correctly. And there are over 18,000 towns, municipalities, cities that elect the city council, the mayors, and so on. Not a week goes by that there is an election in the United States. Every week there are a couple of them. So what product are we bringing to this market? Our product is called Scantegrity. Just to make sure, the name of the company is Voteglas, and the name of the product is Scantegrity. How does it work? Well, Scantegrity is an add-on to an optical scan paper ballot. In here, you have your regular optical scan paper ballot, and Scantegrity adds two things. First of all, it adds a serial number. Some of the ballots may already have serial numbers, some don't. We need a serial number for it. The second part is a chit at the bottom of the ballot. You will see that that will have a very important role. So right now, in Scantegrity, when the voter fills in the votes for Bob, magic happens. Actually, in the ovals, there is invisible ink. So the ovals are coated with invisible ink. And the invisible ink develops to reveal a confirmation code. This is exactly like your FedEx tracking number. It's a random confirmation code assigned to each of the candidates. The voter will take this confirmation code and write it down on the chip by hand. Later on, the voter can go to a website. So after the election is done, the voter goes to a website, types in the serial number, and what do you think it should get? Well, if the voter sees the code on the website, the voter can be sure of two things. One, the machine read the ballot correctly. And two, the chain of custody from the voting machine in the polling place to some sort of central server that serves up this web page. So this chain of custody was correct, was unbroken. Can the voter be sure that his ballot was actually counted correctly? No, not yet. We have another process for that. That's deeply technical. I'm not going to go into it. The technical term is called verifiable mixnets. They have existed for 30 years. They are well understood. The literature spans thousands of articles in the academic community. So we can use a verifiable mixnet to prove that the ballots are counted correctly. If we have this sort of ballot, the voters can check that their own votes are in the ballot box by going to the website. And anybody, be it in the US or outside or anywhere, can check that all the votes have been counted correctly. So, voter verifiability, universal verifiability. The voter is responsible for this part, And anybody can check that if they care to. In a close election, they might. And all this without needing to trust any voting machines at the polling place or any election officials or anybody that's involved in the election. This is purely a mathematical thing. You trust math. You trust science. Just like you solve a system of equations. All right. How far did we go with this product? Well, it's way beyond the proof of concept. The code base, the software is ready. We have printed ballots. We have ran elections. We ran binding elections for private organizations, for example, for student council at university. We have established reputation in the academic community. We've presented many papers at various academic conferences, journals, books. As I said, I'm a computer scientist by myself. I just got my PhD, so it's my business to write that, and my thesis was on this. We have also signed the agreement with the first for the first public sector election. And we are going to run that for Tacoma Park, Maryland, just a couple of miles away. Actually, last weekend, we ran a proof of concept for them, which showed them how it's done. There was Arbor Day in Tacoma Park. So we took advantage of the crowd. So as you see, the product is quite mature. Now, what about the team? I myself, as I said, PhD in computer science from George Washington University. I'm going to put my cap and gown in about 2-3 weeks. I have 5 years of experience in voting systems in particular. I have built 3 complete voting systems. The one that I've showed you is the simplest one and the most usable one. The other ones had the same theoretical properties, but they were much more difficult to use. And because of the nature of my work, I took advantage of a couple of media appearances. Everybody wants to know how to do better voting in this country. So I presented my work. For example, I've been invited on the Capitol Hill, and I presented there. And it was covered by media and a lot of other events, including a GW. We had a couple of events that the media people from here organized. David Chaum. Now, this guy is the worst. I mean, he's my advisor. He has been a faculty at the New York University Graduate School of Business. He invented secure voting. In 1981, he wrote the first paper on secure voting. He has over 20 patents. He testified before Congress on matters of electronic voting. He's clearly an expert in this area. And the third guy is Rick Carback. He is a very experienced software developer and web developer. He's got a master's degree from UMBC. And together, we've been in the same team for, I'd say, 4 years now. So we've been working together, the 3 of us, for 2 years. We're going to compete with 4 big players. So the voting market in the US currently has 4 big players. There's ESNS, there's Sequoia, Heart InterCivic, and Premier, formerly known as Diebold. But because Diebold made so many, not so many, other products, for example, ATMs and so on, they rebranded. So the bad press goes to Premier from now on. And that's why we don't have the numbers, because we did this little trick. But by the way, this is not a new trick. The same division was sold in 1965 by IBM that was doing punch card voting at that time. IBM has been in the business for 100 years. They entered the market with voting. So it's a well-known trick. These are our major big competitors. Voting, it's not a growing market. It's not going to grow. The US is not going to acquire more territories or bring in more people to the polls. I mean, more people to the polls maybe, but we expect it to be steady. But it's a very stable market. It's been around for 150 years. It's not going to go away, okay? And it's large. It doesn't matter that it's not growing. It's changing. The voting world market is changing. So the Help America Vote Act of 2002, it was passed because everybody knows the 2000 Florida fiasco, and said, you know what, you screwed up with those punch cards, threw them out, here's some money, buy new voting systems. and we got $4 billion. The counties got in total $4 billion, and they said, yes, we have money. Let's buy cool machines, machines that look good. And they bought touchscreens, which is $7 a piece, and you need one touchscreen per voting booth, and we have about 12 of them in a polling place, so really expensive. And then the computer scientists, like me, came along and said, can I take a look at this machine? And I look, for about 2 hours, and I say, yeah, I can make anybody win. Just tell me who you want to win. I can make you do that without any trace, and and there's been movies about that, and the guy from Princeton has the record now. He can do it in under 1 minute. And Felton, so not that great. So the black box model is not that great. Now they're trying to patch it up with putting more screws and more seals, and you cannot open the seal. You know what? That paradigm is broken. You have to get rid of it. Get rid of the black box model. Empower the voters. They have to be able to check. Okay. And by the way, 60% of the votes cast in the last election, the last national election in the US, were on optical scan. So we're building on that. And because of the problems that they find with the machines, a couple of states said, I don't care that I spend so much money. I'm just going to decertify all that. You are not allowed to use them in the election. Get rid of them. Bring in the old stuff. And that's it. We essentially threw money off the window, including California, which is the biggest state with the biggest number of voters in the US. Maryland is doing that in 2010. Florida already did it. Colorado did it, and they switched back because of some political pressure. But the good thing is that the government is stepping in. The National Institute of Standards and Technology is the institution that says how you can have voting systems. Okay? What are the principles behind it? And because we are in the academic community, we know them, they know us actually quite well. And in the next voluntary voting system guidelines that we're going to issue, we're going to include the voting systems like Scantegrity, so the principles behind it. We're going to say, these are the voting systems that we encourage to have. They're not allowed to say, you should have that, because the states can choose essentially whatever they want, but these will be the recommendations. It's going to take about 3 years for these recommendations to get out. Okay? It's I don't know how familiar are you with the processes of NIST. It takes time. It takes a long time. So we've been talking to them for 3-4 years. And now we saw official documents that say, end-to-end voting systems, which is exactly what I presented, are going to be in the next recommendations. Well, the good news from a business point of view is that none of the 4 players in the market today have anything like that or even know how to build that. They seem to be interested in innovation. They actually sponsored the competition, an international competition, saying, what is the best voting system that you can build? All the universities from around the world can come in and build one, and we're going to pay $10,000. And we'll say, OK, we're going to go in. And we went in, and we got the prize. And afterwards, we went to them and we said, hey, but can we do anything with that? You want to maybe have an agreement? And they said, the business is good as it is. We're not gonna bother to change the horses as long as they're bringing money. So we have to take the matters into our own hands and become a competitor. We also have a patent that was issued. As we said, we've been around for a while, so we have a patent that is already issued. We have another patent that is pending. We believe the application will get through. So this application is covering the exact voting system that I showed you. The one before is covering the principles behind it. So we're covered on all that. And last but not least, the customer trust. If a county comes to you or a city comes to you and they want to run an election, they want to know that they can trust you as a vendor. And this implies 2 things. First of all, you can deliver the product. You have to have the ballots on the day of the election. And the beauty of Scantegrity is that it's a paper ballot. If everything goes wrong, you still have the paper. There is no risk. Okay? You take the paper ballot and count it. And of course, on top of that, if everything works fine, and in all our experiments so far, everything worked excellent, you have the science on top of that. You have the math. And that's not somebody coming on TV and saying this worked. That's anybody can go and grab those equations and look at them and say, yes, I believe there was no cheating. All right, so these are the barriers to entry. What is our strategy as a company? We project that we're going to have the first sale within 8 months. By the beginning of the second year, we're going to run elections with 23,000 registered voters. By the way, that's registered voters, not ballot cast. And this is because we're going to charge 50% per registered vote. This is much less than anything that's charged today. And from the second year on, we expect a 12% growth rate every month. When you looked at the team, you said, well, these are great technical guys. They have the expertise on that. Where's the business? Well, we need to bring the business in. So we're coming from another angle. We have the innovation. We have the intellectual property. We know how to do this thing from a technical point of view. We're going to bring in the business. So we're going to hire a marketing professional. We're going to do direct marketing. We're going to create educational materials, and we're going to knock on each, not on each door, but on the countries that are, progressive enough to be crazy to try something like this. We are going to lose $250,000 in the first year and $200,000 in the second year. But in the third year, we're going to have sustainable sales. A little bit of profit in the third year, but essentially our goal is to have sustainable sales by the third year, so not to lose any money from now on. The founders are going to contribute $90,000, and on top of that, our salaries for the first year are going to be very modest, $24,000 per year. We're asking for $500,000 in venture capital, and this is the only round of funding that we expect. We don't expect to come and knock on the door for some more money. The exit strategy is to be acquired by one of the 4 major players in 3 years, after 3 years of operation. So we have sustainable sales. We proved that we have a viable product by running elections. We proved that we're not losing money anymore. And now, as I said, we're a bunch of innovators. Maybe we're not very good at taking this up to $100 million. So what we're going to do is we're going to sell the company. And if you put in a factor of 20 on the $1 million sales that we're going to have in the third year, we are going to sell the company for $20 million. And then we'll go on to the next venture. I just want to end by saying, why should Voteglas win? First of all, we have a first-class team. We have a first-class product based on true technical innovation, not just vaporware. We have a very large and dynamic market. And last but not least, Scantegrity will make money and at the same time make the world a better place. Thank you.
Stefan, what is the marketing strategy of your marketing experts to get to these different counties to convince them to buy your product?
So as I said, we're going to do direct marketing. So we're going to send printed materials by mail. We're going to participate in the conventions that they have. There's the National Convention of Secretaries of State every year, for example. We've already been to one of them. There are a couple of conferences, trade shows, however you want to call them, where vendors come around and show off their products. One of them is IFES, is a big organizer of that. IFES is here in DC. So we're going to go there. But for all that, we're going to need a little bit of money to, first of all, produce the materials, and second of all, to be able to participate in conferences. So if given the chance, the marketing hopefully will work out.
How often do municipalities invest in this type of technology? I assume is it an annual expenditure, and is the pricing model you suggested, is that typical of the competition, or is it more an upfront fee for the equipment as opposed to an annual fee like you
the
were
pricing
suggesting?
model is not typical. So what they usually do is they buy the equipment, they pay up front. So the state of Maryland in 2005 spent about $100 million. They're going to pay until 2013, and they already decertified the equipment. So usually that's their model. We're saying that we're going to offer our products for rent. So we come, we run the election, then we take the equipment back, and go to the next election.
So my question is, how often would a municipality make an investment in something like this? Like if they just bought equipment 2 or 3 years ago, does that take them out of the market as a customer for a certain amount of time, or are they still a prospect?
They are definitely still a prospect. It depends on how much money they have and on how bad...
The answer to that is none, because none of the municipalities have any money right now, right? They're all broke.
Yeah, I guess. But it also depends on how much, how troubled was their last election. So we talked to a couple of municipalities that had a real bad relationship with the vendors, and I'm not going to name any, Diebold. But they essentially want to go away. Even if they have a 10-year contract, they want to go away and use something that gives confidence to the voters, not just to the people running the election, because it's useless. If I'm running the election, I'm convinced that it works.
But you said this retrofits with the current touchscreen technology.
No, it retrofits with the current optical scan.
Optical scan. And that would introduce, there would also be a paper aspect.
Well, optical scan is paper.
It's paper.
It's a paper ballot where you either connect two arrows or you fill in a novel or usually something like that. So you have a piece of paper, you put it into a machine, and then the machine.
Couldn't you use a similar program for some of the early online voting? Now that it's online, isn't there some kind of follow-through stamp for some of the municipalities out west? They don't do it in this area, but that do online voting?
In the US, there is no online voting, public online voting as far as I know. Internationally, there is Estonia, there is Switzerland. Online voting has...
I thought Oregon, but... Okay.
Oregon is all remote. It's not online. You get a paper ballot and so on. Internet voting is a real bad idea from a scientific point of view. I mean, if you have a virus on your computer and you have no idea you have a virus, then the virus can essentially do anything. That's one thing. The second thing is the denial of service attack. Somebody is attacking your system and the system is down. You've got no idea what's happening. So from a purely scientific point of view, it's a really bad idea. From a marketing point of view, it may be a great idea. Vote on Facebook, yeah. But again, then the scientists are going to come and be on CNN prime time and break the system, and then everybody will go away. So it's always the science that wins. Thank you.